Support for this episode is provided by CMT Orange Tools, known throughout the world as the premium brand of woodworking cutting tools. To learn more about the router bits that I use, click on the link in the description. So my friend Bob's been posting a lot about his RIDGID Cordless router. He's always posting about RIDGID. I don't have anything RIDGID, but I've heard pretty good things about RIDGID, so I figured I'd finally pull the trigger on the router. Of course, I wasn't able to buy the router with a battery and charger, so I ended up having to buy a drill, which I don't need, but it came with 2 batteries and a charger, and I'll just set this drill up as a dedicated pre-drill and countersink. So let's just go ahead and take these out of the box and get one of the batteries and the charger. So you've got your router, and it comes with a square base. And it also comes with an additional round base, a small round over router bit, an edge guide, and everything you'll need for the edge guide, and also your wrench for changing the bits. Okay, so let's put this over here for now. We'll open up this drill and get the battery out. There's the battery. Okay, I've got a full charge on the battery. I've got the 4 lights here. And I am going to throw a Rabbet bit in the router. I did a little poll on my Instagram, and most people want to see how this router is going to do with the Rabbet bit. Well, let's go ahead and just start it up. This is the on button right here. And we'll come a little closer and I'll show you the variable speed. Let's just take a quick look at how to take the battery out. Real simple. You have these 2 tabs here, but we'll keep the battery in for now to take a look at the variable speed. Start it up like this. And I'll take the battery out to put the bit in the router. You've got a little spindle stop here, and I'll rotate the spindle until that locks in place. Drop the router bit in position and tighten it up. Before we test this out, let's just take another look at how to raise and lower the depth of the cut. So by pressing this button, you can make a large adjustment, and then this wheel here is for the micro adjustment. That's definitely a nice feature. I like that. So I'm going to set this pretty deep. Let's make a pretty aggressive cut and just go for it. I would say the cut is a 3/8. This is a 3/8 rabbeting bit, and we'll do it by, let's do 3/8 by 3/8 roughly. Lock it in place and see how it works. Okay, and that's a pretty clean cut. I did take my time because I wanted to avoid tear out. And tear out is pretty notorious or associated with rabbeting bits. So you always want to take your time. You can do something called climb cutting, but that's fairly dangerous and something I probably wouldn't talk about on this show. What I plan to use a Rabbet bit for most is for cutting backs, and that's just about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to reset the bit at 1/4 of an inch and give it another test on the other side of the board. I'll loosen the clip and micro adjust the router. I've got a piece of 1/4 inch plywood so I can test it. A little bit more. That looks pretty good right there. Well, first impression, I'm definitely really impressed with this little router. It's very comfortable in the hand. This little kind of rubber grip here fits, or your hand fits and feels good in the router. It doesn't feel top heavy. That's kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this to a friend. And I think it's like any cordless tool. Once you have a cordless tool that can do the job of a corded tool, you'll always reach for the cordless tool. Now on my Instagram, after the Rabbet bit, most people chose the chamfer bit to test out, so I'll give that one a test too, especially since that's the router bit that I'll most likely use most in this router. And if you want to be part of the conversation, definitely check out my Instagram. I'll have a link in the description. So let's go ahead and remove the battery and change the bit out. I've got the chamfer bit in the router, and now I'll make one real-time cut from here to here, which is about 16 inches. So that's a pretty good example of the speed that I'll use the router using that bit at that depth. And I've got a really nice finish on this cut. So now I'll flip the board over and we'll make another pass, and I'll get that 3-angle shot so you can see the bit as it's working. Okay, well, I'm definitely impressed with this little router. I mean, it's just a nice little router, very comfortable tool to use. Some people would maybe want to get a larger battery. This is only the 1.5 amp hour battery, but I think that'll be enough for what I'm going to use the router for, which is basically small chamfers and small roundovers. And if the router continues to impress me, I'll probably pick up another one and just set one router up with a small chamfer and another router up with a small roundover, because those are the two router bits that I use most often. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. And if you do, hit that notification bell, and that way you'll know each time I post a new video. And like the video and check me out on Instagram and become part of this YouTube conversation. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.